We're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh yeah. What you gonna do when Eddie and Webby run wild on you, brother?
Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 66th Dinking Around.
Aw, yeah, episode number 66.
That's right. We got an action-packed episode for you tonight. We're going to have some incredible memes in our Memes of Pickleball segment. And I got to tell you, I'm excited because I think we have some good topics we're going to be talking about as well. But, guys, none of this would be possible without our friends over at League Pickleball. And let me tell you something. The League Mach 1 16mm paddle is just absolutely incredible. I've been playing with it before we even partnered up with League. I love it. I think it is the perfect balance of spin, power, without losing any touch. It's perfect for my game. I highly recommend you check it out. Webby, looks like you have a paddle there behind you as well. What have you been playing with lately?
So behind me is the Mach 1 Forza, which was my previous favorite paddle. But lately, I've been absolutely loving the Mach 2 Forza, and that is the wide body. It's like a pretty unique wide shape, huge sweet spot, huge, and I absolutely love it.
Well, guys, if you want to get your hands on some of the best paddles in the pickleball game, as well as some other gear, you can go to Valere.com. You can use coupon code PB for life, and you're going to get what, Webby?
You're going to get yourself 10% off your order, and you're going to help support our YouTube channel in the process.
That's right. Check out Valere.com. Coupon code PB for life. And Webby, there's something that I'm absolutely dying to know.
What in the world is in that drink? What you got in that drink?
That's right. I want to know, Webby, what you got in that drink for this podcast.
Oh, man, I am very excited about tonight's drink. It is something I haven't had yet, but this is going to conclude my series of beers from the variety pack that I got from Bell's Brewery. And this is Big Hearted IPA. And it's called Big Hearted for a reason, because this one packs a punch. This is coming in at 9.5% ABV. So I'm going to be feeling really nice while sipping on this throughout the episode. What about you, Eddie? What are you going to be drinking?
I got myself another Fort Myers Spiked Hard Seltzer. Once again, the cherry limeade flavor, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 90 calories. Tastes great. Perfect beverage for after pickleball. Perfect beverage for during pickleball. I just absolutely love it. It's my favorite seltzer that's out there right now. You can get 12 packs at your local Publix, or if you're in Fort Myers, go check out Fort Myers Brewing Company. Absolutely love it. And cheers to you, my friend Webby.
Cheers.
I'm excited for you to taste that. It honestly looks like Hop Slam.
It's similar to Two Hearted in flavor. I can tell it's a little boozier, but for how strong it is, very smooth. I'm going to like this. I'm going to like this a lot.
That's great. Well, while you're sipping on that, before we get into our next segment, it sounds like we've actually been receiving quite a bit of feedback lately on maybe some of the topics that we've brought up, other videos we've posted. Webby, do you want to share some of that feedback and we can talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out everybody. We've been getting a lot of great feedback. Ever since we started this new format for Dinking Around, we've been getting a lot of great feedback, especially after last week's episode where I talked about how I might be done with pickleball tournaments. It was kind of overwhelming how many people reached out, left comments, or even direct messaged me about it, saying that they love the tournament vlog videos that I do, and they really hope I don't give up tournaments because they love watching my journey. And I'll be honest, that means a lot to me. I love the fact that people are actually enjoying the content that I'm making and putting out there. And I really do enjoy making those tournament vlogs every time I do a tournament. So I just wanted to ease all of your minds. I have a lot of tournaments I'm already signed up for this year. So you don't have to worry about a lack of content for 2024 because I'm already signed up for a bunch of tournaments. If I decide to not do tournaments as much, that's not going to kick in until 2025. But I will be honest, the fact that I've had so many people reach out and leave great feedback and I've had so much support about the tournament videos that I do, that might play a part in me maybe delaying giving up pickleball tournaments. So I want to thank everybody out there for all the kind words, all the feedback. We do love getting feedback from you, good or bad, because we get plenty of feedback saying that we suck at pickleball. And anytime I post a video, there's always at least one person that says, oh man, you suck. You should play at least a division lower than what you're doing. So we see those too, and we even appreciate those. So keep them coming.
That's right. Feedback is a gift. We appreciate all of them. And yes, we have definitely gotten feedback about how bad our play can be sometimes as well. But
Yes.
it's all good stuff. That's awesome. Real quick, before we move on to our next segment as well, I do want to say, Webby, did you happen to see this most recent podcast from Chris over at Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball?
I did. I love the Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball podcast.
Me too. It's definitely one of my favorites out there. I'm so glad that Chris came into the pickleball space. I think his content is exactly what we needed. And there's now a segment in there called the PPA Hook of the Week. It came from an idea from the Pickle Pod from when Leah Jansen was on there, and it turned into something. And now that segment is actually sponsored by Close Call Replay. And if you guys don't know, Close Call Replay is a business that Kyle Salenko, the founder and owner of Boxcar Productions, and I started. It's pickleball's first and only 240 frames per second instant replay line challenge system. And if you guys have been watching any of PPA or MLP, no dig at them. They're doing the best they can with what they have, but they are severely lacking when it comes to video challenges of line calls. Our system is here. It's ready. And I hope that you guys all can go out there and continue to try and say to these tournament directors, you guys need Close Call Replay, because I believe that we will be able to help bring fairness and quality to the sport that it so desperately needs. So thank you for letting me plug that real quick. And with that, Webby, I want to know what time it is.
Now it's time for Memes of the Week. Yeah!
That's right. It's Memes of the Week, pickleball's hottest new segment in pickleball podcasting. And Webby, I want to know, what are the memes or meme that you chose for this week?
Well, since the 2024 season of Major League Pickleball officially kicked off, I thought this would be a good chance to revisit something that we actually posted. That's right, if you go to @EddieandWebby on Instagram or YouTube, we did a little something called Bad Dink Reading, and there was one that we did for the 2023 draft for Major League Pickleball, so I say go ahead and roll it.
Now, homeboy, the baristas have boxes of tapes of squirrel toys, by the way. Tell me who's your favorite chef. I don't want to say. I'll just have cornflakes.
Are you gonna make me punch you, mister? No, don't you try and slap me.
Let me see your best tough guy act.
So puny is everyone. I'm mean and masculine.
Tell everyone you're a real person.
Oh, I'm the realest around. No joke. So I can kick the butts of everyone.
You scare me a little bit.
Yeah, I do. You smell like leather.
How'd you find out?
I took a whiff.
I have so many elephants that people want to sue me. More like 5.
Just don't touch my microphone unless I say so. You're awfully mean. That leopard print is too much for me. I'm Chester Cheetah.
Oh, God. It's so good. I forgot how good those are. And Webby, I love how you say a video that we made. Guys, for the record, that's like 99% you. I contribute very little to these videos.
Oh, man. Well, thank you. But I love doing those videos. It's been a while since I did one. So if you guys want to see any new installments, please let us know. And then also give me an idea of what videos you would like me to give the Bad Dink Reading treatment. And just for anybody unaware, this Bad Dink Reading series, it's a spoof of Bad Lip Reading. And if you ask me, bad lip reading on YouTube is one of the greatest things on all of YouTube. I absolutely love that YouTube channel. But basically what they do is they do a voiceover of clips from either sports or movies or TV shows, but they do it in a way to where it looks like this is actually what those people are saying, but it's always super crazy, hilarious, nonsensical things. And there's kind of an art to it, because to make it actually seem like this is exactly what they're saying, it's not easy to do, but it's a challenging thing that I like to do from time to time. So if you guys want to see us do more of those, please let us know and we'll see what we can do.
I love every time you come out with a new one. I'm always like, yes, I can't wait to check it out. It's so fun.
But what about you, Eddie? What kind of memes are you bringing to the table this week?
Some of these made me laugh out loud. And I don't know if you noticed, but Memes of Pickleball over the last about week or so has been releasing a bunch of these Who Pickleball Pros Look Like series. And it's just basically pictures of them, professional pictures done, and basically a nice little tagline added to who they think these pro players look like. There's a lot of them, so buckle up. They're absolutely hilarious. And we're going to go ahead and start off with none other than Zane Navratil. They say Zane Navratil looks like part of an oddly diverse group of friends featured in a community college brochure. AJ Kohler looks like the guy trying to break into the house during an alarm company commercial. Oh, God. Rafa Hewitt looks like the guy wandering out of the porta potty, warning people to not go in there.
That seems so accurate.
So accurate. Matt Wright looks like the Where Are They Now photo from Caillou. So I actually had to look this up. It's like a children's cartoon. Are you familiar with it?
I'm very familiar with Caillou. That was my daughters were the age that watched that show. I absolutely hated it. I hated that show.
Jack Monroe looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Colin Johns looks like someone you would cheat off of during the SAT. James Ignatowicz looks like the guy cheating off Colin Johns during the SAT. Oh my God,
Yes.
so good. Leah Jansen looks like she bites people. No. We know Leia, and we know that she's a super nice person when you get to know her, but I think this photo definitely makes it look like she would bite people and kick their asses at the same time.
Yeah, based on that photo, I would agree.
Yeah. Jay DeVilliers looks like the tennis coach who gets a little too close to your wife. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of wives out there wouldn't mind if Jay got a little too close to them, though.
Right?
Callie Smith looks like her family runs 5Ks on holidays. Yes. Riley Newman looks like someone who would wear his lei for the entirety of his Hawaiian vacation.
I could see that.
Sam Query looks like the guy you must defeat in a sailboat race so his daddy can't acquire the land you live on to expand his country club.
That's such a 90s reference. I feel like that was like the plot of so many 90s TV shows or movies.
Oh, so many. Yeah. Dekel Bar looks like the strongman of a traveling circus.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's a gentle giant. Dane Gingrich looks like the cartoon chef on a generic pizza box. Julian Arnold looks like he works at the family pizzeria with his father, Dane Gingrich, but is dangerously close to getting fired for constantly cursing at customers. Yeah. Ryan Sherry looks like a guy who winks at you after walking out of your mom's room at 6 a.m. Oh, God. Yeah, I agree. Oh, God, this one might be my favorite. Jeannie Bouchard looks like the girl at the tournament whom you ask, do you know where the bathroom is? And she replies with, I have a boyfriend.
Oh, that's so good.
Vivian David looks like she claps when the plane lands. Webby, I would be willing to bet you money that she has done that before or wanted to do it, but maybe just held back.
I could see that. I feel like she would clap at a lot of things.
Yeah. Ends of movies, yeah. She's the best. I love Vivian. Dave Fleming looks like the manager whose framed picture hangs near the front of your local grocery store. Dave Fleming looks like someone who practices his golf swing mid-conversation.
I could totally see that. I don't even know if he golfs, but I could totally see him doing that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Dave Fleming looks like the dad who embarrasses his family by purposefully announcing the J in fajita, so fajita, when ordering at a Mexican restaurant.
I'll have the fajitas, please.
Dave Fleming looks like a Roth IRA.
That makes no sense, but I get it at the same time.
That's the genius of that one, is like everybody's like, yeah, I get it. Even though I don't get it, I get it. Dave Fleming looks like the guy who says, diet starts tomorrow before proceeding to take a giant bite out of his pulled pork sandwich. And the very last one is from Life After Dusk on Instagram. Their comment says, Dave Fleming looks like the kind of guy who tells jokes where the punchline is, hi, hungry, I'm dad.
You know he said that. You know he's done that numerous times.
Guaranteed. Dude, memes of pickleball, you crushed it once again. These were absolutely hilarious. And big shout out to a lot of these pros for being good sports about this and letting them be the center of our entertainment, because these were classic.
And that segment was so long, my beer is almost gone, so I'm going to be feeling real nice throughout the rest of the episode.
Nice. Well, what do we got next then, Webby?
Now it's time for Topics of the Week.
That's right. We're talking about topics of the week. Each week, Webby and I pick a topic. We talk about it. And these topics are meant to be conversational between us. But most importantly, we want to know what you guys think about these topics as well. And we've gotten some great feedback in the past. We definitely want to continue to get that feedback. So if you have an opinion on or a take on what we're saying, throw it down in the comments below. We would appreciate it. But I want to know, Webby, what is your topic for this week?
Well, my topic is very topical because it's something that just happened. Major League Pickleball just kicked off, like we said during memes of pickleball earlier, and there has been a lot of feedback about it because a lot has changed with Major League Pickleball. For one thing, the rules have changed a bit. There is no longer a freeze when a team reaches a certain point in the game, so it's rally scoring, but they just do rally scoring all the way up until the end. That is a major difference. The video production quality has dropped significantly. That is very unfortunate. Not all the matches are live streamed, and a lot of people are saying it doesn't seem to be as intense or as fun as it used to be. So my question for you, Eddie, and everybody tuning in, has Major League Pickleball jumped the shark? Is it not as good or as exciting as it used to be?
Wow. That's a loaded question. I will tell you, I was so excited when MLP Atlanta was approaching, and it was going to be the kickoff of 2024, and it was going to be long awaited. The last event was months ago, and I was like, yes, I love MLP. I love the team event. I think we've shown that team events in pickleball are incredible and should be what we're focusing on mostly. And I'm going to be honest, I was a bit let down.
I absolutely was let down as well because we've talked about it before. Major League Pickleball, to me, has been the most fun pro-related pickleball event in pickleball. Right from the get-go, the very first Major League Pickleball event was so much fun. Something they did only during the first installment of Major League Pickleball was miking up all the players. That was very different, very risky, and I think I think there's a good reason why they don't do that anymore because a lot of the players they had kind of potty mouths throughout the whole thing, but to me that kind of added to the charm. You get to hear like what people are really like during the games. But like I think Major League Pickleball just right out of the gate was so much fun, so cool, so edgy, and so different that it was hard to live up to it. But I feel like they did live up to it for the second season of Major League Pickleball. It's just been so cool. It's been I love the fact that all the pros were all in one place at the same time for the first one. But then the whole PPA versus APP thing happened, and PPA decided that they wanted to do the contracts to where people were exclusively PPA and couldn't play in APP. So then that was kind of a downer, and it made it to where Major League Pickleball wasn't quite as fun because not all of the greatest pickleball players were in the same place. But fast forward to now, things have kind of settled down to where pretty much anybody can do Major League Pickleball now. But the product is just, I don't know, it just seems so much more watered down now than it used to be. And one thing I want to talk about now, though, is like the whole scoring thing. So what they used to do, they used to have a freeze where you would reach a certain point in the score, and then you could only score points on your serve. The rest of the game is rally scoring to where it doesn't matter who's serving, somebody's going to get a point. And what that did is that set it up to where it gave the team that was losing a chance to make a comeback because the other team that could only score when it's on their serve, they were kind of stuck at that point unless they were really good when they were serving the ball. But that caused a lot of comebacks to happen. On the other hand, some people said that kind of penalized the team that was dominating the game because they would kind of get stuck there. It would allow the other team to make a comeback. So I can see like it's a pros and cons type of thing as far as that goes. Because I can see what people were complaining about, how it was not great for the team that was winning. It was kind of penalizing them for being so good to start with out of the gate. But what I liked about it is the fact that it really made the team that wins like have to prove their skill and their ability because they could only score on their serve for the last few points of the game. And I don't know, that just added a good element of excitement to me. It also kind of, just for those last few points anyways, brought back old school pickleball where it's like the side out scoring and stuff like that, because a lot of people hate rally scoring with a passion because it's so much different than the pickleball everybody learned how to play and fell in love with. So to me, I am not a fan of the fact that they don't have a score freeze. What are your thoughts on that part of it?
Well, I am of the camp where I do not like rally scoring for doubles pickleball. I think singles pickleball should move to rally scoring, but I think doubles pickleball should stay with traditional side out scoring. So for me, I always thought it was funny that Major League Pickleball went to rally scoring and then added the freeze. Basically, what they were saying was the artificial score that you have towards the end of the game because of rally scoring, we're just going to end up going to side out scoring for that anyway. So it's like, well, what's the point? Just stay with side out scoring then, and then like everything should be totally fine. I know that a lot of numbers have been run and data has been run to show that it really didn't matter, but I would also like to see that data now run against, okay, how many rallies on average did you have with the freeze versus you have now going to 25? And I bet you it's going to be a very small difference between the two. So I'm actually glad they got rid of the freeze. I think the freeze was artificial drama that was placed into Major League Pickleball as a result of the downsides of rally scoring. Now, I know that there are advantages to rally scoring. It's easier for people coming into the sport to understand. I know volleyball switched to it. Beach volleyball switched to it years ago, and it became more of a televisable sport because of it. But I still, to my core, don't like the fact that MLP uses rally scoring in doubles. But if they are going to do rally scoring, I'm glad that they stick with it all the way through to the end. And I personally didn't find any of the ending of the matches any less exciting because they got rid of the freeze. I still felt like it was just as exciting. And in some ways, I even like knowing that a game could end regardless of who is serving. I personally prefer that.
I definitely do not. And even some of the players seemed confused. Like one of the teams that won a game, they were confused at why the game had ended because they were not the ones serving. I like having the freeze. I think, to me, it's more entertaining to watch. And to your point about not liking rally scoring for doubles at all, I've always said that I prefer traditional scoring for pickleball. But if you want it to be televised, I feel like it has to be rally scoring because it's more predictable as far as the length of the games and stuff like that. But when you add the freeze, then it becomes less predictable as far as the length. So I can get what you're saying about how you should stick to one or the other. One good thing about the current iteration of Major League Pickleball without the freeze is there were a couple teams that did make comebacks, and that makes it that much more impressive, the fact that they were able to make the comeback. So there is that part of it, but I don't know, just overall, it just seems so anticlimactic to be able to win a game from somebody screwing up their serve. Like I can't stand that as being a way for a game to end.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I do think that there are going to be some of those matches that are less entertaining and they don't end on as positive as a note because of it. But I think those are going to be hit or miss. And, you know, how often is it that a lot of these players are missing their serves? Outside of Connor Garnett, looks like he got a little case of the yips at MLP, which I felt awful for him on. So, yeah, I agree. The freeze would have really helped anytime Connor was out on the court this past weekend. But again, I think that's just few and far between. And I still think that those games that might end without as much excitement, it's rare. And I still think that getting rid of the freeze leads to a better overall product.
All right. Well, those are our takes on the scoring part of it. I'd like to know what you guys think. Please leave comments down below. But then another part I want to touch on is the live stream. The production quality of this year's Major League Pickleball so far, man, it has not been good compared to in the past. In the past, they've had Boxcar Productions, which, as everybody knows, does the best live productions in pickleball. And then what they're doing now, it doesn't cut it. If that's what if you want this to be a big professional thing that spectators that are people that don't play pickleball want to watch, this isn't the right way to do it. I mean, man, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I totally agree. I do have to challenge you saying that Boxcar has the best production. I will say they have the best mobile production. I think the Tuesday Night Pickleball crew at the Orchard, which I happen to be a part of, we do the best production. But again, we have the luxury of being in one spot and having our equipment there. So there's a lot of reasons why we're able to do what I think is great. But I will agree with you. Taking us off the table, Boxcar Productions does hands down the best pickleball production that you can do in pickleball. I know that when they were working with MLP, I think some of the best broadcasts we've ever had have come from the previous year's MLP matches. I totally agree with you. I definitely think that Boxcar not being a part of this was a huge, huge miss. And this goes a little bit into a deeper of a topic, Webby, where we want this sport to go to a certain point, right? There's a lot of people that believe that pickleball is still just a game. It's not really like a sport. It's not a sport that's going to be televisable and stuff like that. And yes, we do have a lot of obstacles we have to get through. But if we're not going to take this kind of stuff seriously, like putting out a good broadcast, having a good line challenge system, it's never going to get the respect that we all believe that it deserves. So then my question back to you is, well, all of a sudden, MLP is officially owned by PPA. PPA probably is thinking, maybe I don't want MLP to be a superior product to PPA. It's kind of a side product. Is it one of those things where maybe it's just we don't want to put the attention into it? Or maybe does this go to a deeper level of they don't want it to be as good as PPA?
Yeah, to be honest, I think that could be the case. I don't totally think the PPA wants Major League Pickleball to be as great as it used to be, because a lot of people used to say Major League Pickleball was the best thing in pro pickleball and the thing they looked forward to the most every year. And PPA was getting stale and boring with the same people in the finals every single week. And I immediately had a bad feeling when PPA and MLP merged, especially because the people that were originally involved in the creation of Major League Pickleball got kind of pushed out. And I hate to say it, but I feel like my bad feelings are coming true. And unless they change things, I feel like Major League Pickleball is going to be gone, and we're going to be seeing Vibe Pickleball take over.
Who knows, man? I still believe that team-based professional pickleball is the way to go. I'm not saying there isn't a place for these tournaments, but I believe that the ratio of MLP events to PPA events should be flip-flopped. There should be MLP events going on every week. We should have seasons. Yep. These teams should have home courts. They should travel to play each other. We should have matches going on 3-4 nights a week throughout the season, and then sprinkle in a couple PPA events here and there, the traditional tennis-style tournaments where people get to pick and choose who they want to be able to play with. I think that is what most of the pros would want, and I believe that is what most of the fans would want.
I agree. I would absolutely love that. I think that would be the absolute perfect way to do it. And then that would make the PPA events mean more if they're just a few and far between. Because, I mean, when we first got involved in pickleball, there was only a few really big pro events. You had the U.S. Open,
yep,
and you had Nationals, and you had Tournament of Champions. I think that was it, the big three. And those were always so awesome to watch. I watched every single minute that I could. When I was working, I would have it on in the background, and I would make sure that I didn't miss any of it, because these were the three big events of the year to feature the best players in the world. And now, with a PPA event almost every single weekend, it's like, who cares? I mean, I really don't care if I miss a tournament. I'll look up the recap and the what happened, and I won't feel like I missed anything, to be honest. I hate to say that, but that's the way it is.
Yep, I totally agree. But I wanted to watch as much Major League Pickleball as possible. And I think that if we were able to take that format and really make it into a league, it would absolutely take off. And that should be the standard for what we evolve into with pro pickleball.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Major League Pickleball could learn a lot from the Arizona Pickleball League. You mentioned Tuesday Night Pickleball earlier. I love their format. It's such a good format. And I feel like the way they do it, that's a good way to build fan loyalty too. Because, I mean, all throughout Arizona, each of the different cities has their own team. And when I was there in person, it was great because you had the people that were hardcore fans of the Tempe Tornadoes, and then you had the hardcore fans of the Gilbert Gladiators. And I'm from Michigan, and I was rooting for both of them, but it was cool to see that each of them had their fan base. And I feel like with Major League Pickleball right now, there's not any fan loyalty really, because nobody really knows what Major League Pickleball is yet. I feel like the organization themselves don't know what Major League Pickleball is yet. So how can you know like which team you're going to root for? I don't know. It's just, it's sad because Major League Pickleball was so amazing when it first started, and the first few seasons were great. But right now, with the current product, I'm not loving it.
I'm hopeful that the tweaks will be worked out and that things will go in the right direction. If, and this is a big if the PPA truly wants to make it happen. If they don't, and they're going to continue to phone it in, then forget about it. It's not going to go anywhere, and let's just let it die.
Yeah. That's what we think. I would love to know what you all think. Please let us know in the comments below. But I would also love to know, Eddie, what is your topic of the week?
Well, mine's a little bit lighter, a little bit funnier. Well, I don't know about funny, but just a little bit lighter. Something relatable. So I've been playing up at East Naples a lot lately, as I've mentioned, and I've really been making the best out of it. And I was talking to somebody that plays in a league up there. And one of the pros that kind of runs the leagues had made up a rule that you're not able to do partner communication to decide whether, like, to communicate to your partner that a ball is in or out or going in or out until after the ball lands. So if you and I are playing on a team and I see that somebody is taking a huge swing and that ball is coming off their paddle and I know it's going out, I cannot say out until that ball is out of bounds. And so I started to think to myself, well, are there other stupid rules that are out there or rules that are made up or fake that just communities glob onto and run with and everybody thinks is factual? And Webby, I came across quite a bit of them. I'm going to go through a couple here, and then if you think of any throughout this process, bring them up as well, because you have played at probably more facilities that are out there that were brand new or very young when you started playing there. Probably had a young population of pickleball players and stuff like that, way more than I've had an opportunity to do so. But let me list off a couple. One of them is, and I actually heard this when I was in Hilton Head, you can't enter the kitchen until the ball bounces in there. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard people say that, but usually they're very new to the sport, and I am always very quick to correct them, and I'll let them know, you could stand in the kitchen as much as you want throughout a game. You just can't hit the ball out of the air when you're in the kitchen. That's a big pet peeve of mine when people say something like that, and I will make sure to correct them very quickly.
Good. Similar to that, and this actually happened in my old community. There was a guy that was notorious for doing this, but he would let his momentum from hitting a volley take him into the kitchen, or even jump outside the kitchen, hit a volley, and land in the kitchen. And he thought that that was okay. Hey, have you ever experienced that?
Yes, I've seen that before too, and I've almost gotten into an argument with somebody before about it, because I told somebody, I was like, just so you know, like that's technically considered a foot fault because your momentum took you into the kitchen. They're like, no way, I hit the ball way back here. And I was like, yeah, you're right, you did hit the ball back there, but you like kept going and ended up with your feet in the kitchen. And the rule says if your momentum takes you into the kitchen, that's a foot fault if you hit it out of the air, because you have to establish your feet before entering the kitchen. And they're like, huh, well, that's new to me. He definitely did not believe me. He did not believe me. But yeah, I have definitely heard that many places before. And that's another one that I correct people on if I hear it.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. This next one actually happened to me in a tournament a very long time ago. And that is, your serve cannot hit the middle line.
That's one I haven't seen too much. I'd like people, like brand new people have kind of questioned it, but they were okay when I was like, no, that's considered good. But I have not come across like people that were adamant that cannot happen before.
Oh, I got into a discussion with somebody at a tournament. It was really early on, like over 5-6 years. I don't even know how long ago, but a long time ago. Similar to the first one, or the can't enter the non-volley zone until the ball bounces. I've actually heard you have to exit the kitchen before your partner hits the ball after it comes back over. So if you go in there and you dink it and you're still in there when the ball comes back over, even if you don't hit a volley, even if you don't hit the ball, you have to exit the kitchen again.
I have not encountered that one. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Here's one that I've never experienced, but people online have. With brand new people, you can only play your side of the court. So if I'm on the left box is mine. And I know that some people just play that way improperly, but there's some people that think it's a rule.
Oh man, I haven't encountered that either. I like you said, I've encountered people that like feel like, all right, for the best strategy, I have to stay here. You have to stay here. I've seen people like say that as far as strategy, but I've never encountered anybody that thinks that that's a rule. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a bad one. This one, I don't think I've encountered it, but people online have. You can't switch paddle hands. So if you're playing with your right hand, you can't move it to your left hand and hit the ball. That's a fault.
Yeah, that's a new one to me too. I've never had that be an issue. Funny that you mentioned that. I used to, like when my first year of pickleball, I used to do that a lot. I used to switch hands, but I feel like once I got better, I can't remember the last time I actually did that. But yeah, for a while when I first got into it, I did switch hands. I kind of want to go back and look at my old footage to see if that ever, like it ever worked out in my favor or not. But I do remember I used to do that.
I mean, it might take your opponent by surprise, but I'm sure now you realize how bad of a strategy that can be.
Yeah, especially when you and I did when we did that event at Wolverine Pickleball where we had to play with our left hand. Like everything hit with the left hand was just ridiculous and horrible.
Yeah, I'm so bad with my left hand. It's not even funny. Here's one. The ball must go over the net. You can't hit and around the post.
Oh man, I have had that happen where I hit a sweet ATP and the people were like, "Does that count?" But I mean, they were cool with it. Like when I said, "Yeah, that's considered an around the post. That is a legal shot." They didn't argue with me about it, but they were baffled by it when they saw it and they didn't know if it was legal. But I've never had anybody say that, "No, you can't do that."
It happens. Here's one. And I have a few different examples of this happening to me. And that is lets are do-overs. So I've had it where if you do a let serve, and even if it dribbles over and lands in the kitchen, that's considered a do-over. I've had it to where let serves that land in the box is a do-over. And yes, back, prior to 2020, that was the rule, but there are people who still play that way. And I'm not kidding you, Webby. I have also played with people who any let roll that you can't get is an automatic do-over.
Oh man. No,
But think
I
about
have not encountered that. But man, that would be crazy. I mean, there'd be so many redos in all the games I play, like on both sides, because the net cord shots, the winners off the net happen so frequently.
I mean, but think about it, like, all right, now imagine, okay, you're in a small community down here. It's mostly people that are 75 plus that are playing. There's no way they're going to be able to get that ball into play if it dribbles over the net, right? So you have, you have Marge saying, let's make a rule where if it we have to redo it because it's at that point, there's no way we can get it. Like, I could see that happening.
That's a redo, Blanche.
Yeah. Yep.
I could see like in a really old retirement community, like maybe that being a set rule. Like if they maybe predetermined it beforehand, like, hey, just so you know, the way we play here, if the ball dribbles over the net, that's a redo, all right?
Oh my God. I can totally see that happening. You know what? I'd be willing to guarantee that has happened. In a lot of areas down here, it's probably happened.
Yeah. And I do feel horrible. Like if I do play against a really old person in rec play and that happens, I do feel horrible to where I feel like if they would insist that we redo it, it wouldn't take too much convincing for me to do so in rec play. But I've never experienced anybody saying that was a rule, though.
Yeah. Well. And the last one is you cannot hit the ball while standing out of bounds. So no Ernie, no standing out of bounds. No being behind the baseline, like just can't be out of bounds. Your feet have to be in the court.
Yeah, that's another one I have not experienced before. One thing I do want to address, though, the thing you said at the very beginning about you communicating to your partner, shouting that it's out, it's a pet peeve of mine if they shout out, because like that could be distracting to the other team. Like if they hear somebody on the other team yelling out, they might be like, oh damn, and they might just stop playing or stop paying attention because they're thinking the other team called it out. So that's one that I can kind of understand. I prefer that somebody say like bounce it or watch it or let it go, something like that. If the other team says the word out, that's actually something that I can agree with. If you hear the other team say out, that's a very instinctive thing to be like, okay, point's over.
I don't see it that way, but obviously people do. Otherwise, they would have made this rule for the league over at East Naples. But I never assume the point's over until the point's over. So you can say whatever the hell you want on the other side of the net. It doesn't really matter to me. And ultimately, why should we dictate the words that you can use in order to be able to communicate to your partner what's natural? You know, what's natural to you might be bounce it. What's natural to you might say watch it or, heads up or whatever. But, and to me, like bounce it, watch it, let it go. Those are the things that I typically will say. But I have played with people that say out, and it doesn't bother me. Like they're just saying the ball's out,
Yeah, and I have too. And I personally I won't get mad at the other team for doing that, but I do understand if you and I were on a team and you yelled out just as the way of telling me not to hit the ball, but then it lands in and I hit it over, and if the other team doesn't hit it and they're like, well, you said it was out, I could understand why the other team would get frustrated about that. So I do think the choice of word is important, because if you hear the other person yell out on the other team, I think instinctively that's going to cause the other team to not go for the ball and think the point's over.
Well, USA Pickleball, it's up to you. Should you change the rule to exclude out? I don't think that it's good for leagues that are following every other rule in pickleball to make up their own rules, unless it's a rule to make it fun and different, like rally scoring, like you don't have to switch sides. You the right person can stay on the right the whole time. I think those are fantastic variations of the rules that we can experiment with. With this one, I think it should be clear cut exactly what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And right now, according to USA Pickleball, unless I'm wrong, saying out as partner communication is not considered a distraction. And if they want to change it, I think they should change it. But that's my opinion. That's Webby's opinion. We want to know what you guys think. Let us know down below. Maybe you play in a community where you have some stupid rule like you can't lob. I've heard people say that, like, oh, we don't lob here. Okay. Maybe you live in a community where, there's other things. Let us know. We would love to hear them. And maybe we can talk about some of those topics here coming up in the future Topics of the Week segment.
But yeah, I thought those were both great topics tonight. Very fun discussions. I am very interested to see what our audience thinks about what we talked about tonight.
Well, Webby, I can tell that beer is kicking in, which makes me very happy. I know you like to stay hydrated with that, but I also like to know, how else do you like to stay hydrated while you're playing pickleball?
I'm actually probably going to need to do this after this episode to rehydrate myself, but I really love drinking Fruit Punch Electrolyte Supreme from Jigsaw Health, especially during pickleball, but I also like to indulge in that after a night of heavy drinking.
Jigsaw Health has a ton of products for you out there for both on the court and off the court. I use their products every single day. I like to stay hydrated with Pickleball Cocktail Blue Raspberry flavor. I think it tastes amazing and it makes me feel good, because at Jigsaw Health, it's fun to feel good. And what else feels good is saving $10 off your order. So if you go to jigsawhealth.com and you use coupon code PB4Life10, you're going to get what, Webby?
You're going to get $10 off your order, and you're going to help support us.
That's right. Support companies that love to support pickleball. Jigsaw Health, they're just as obsessed with pickleball as we are. So much so that they created their own indoor venue, the Orchard at Jigsaw Health. They created their own professional league, the Arizona Pickleball League. They created a documentary called Breaking Pickleball. They're all over the pickleball world. Check them out, jigsawhealth.com. Coupon code PB4Life10.
That's right. But I thought this was a great episode. Something else I think would be great to find out your
closing thoughts.
Well, what did we learn tonight? Well, guys, this was a very long episode. We unpacked quite a bit of information here. MLP kicked off its first event in 2024, so we wanted to be able to show you our bad dink reading of the 2023 draft. We learned that a lot of pro pickleball players look like certain characters in pop culture, and Dave Fleming definitely seems like the kind of guy who says Diet starts tomorrow before proceeding to take a giant bite of his pulled pork sandwich.
Yes.
We talked about the first event in MLP 2024 in Atlanta. Did it disappoint? Did we love it? Do we think the PPA is there to be able to support it long term? Are there things that can improve? Is the scoring format change better or worse for it? On top of that, I went over 10 of the silliest rules that I've heard talked about amongst pickleball players, pickleball communities, and some of these are just absolutely ridiculous. But guys, that was it. That was episode 66 of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. Webby, what did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
I agree, this was awesome. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
Well, we're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.